And joining us now to give us more updates on the number of tourists flocking the coastal town or the coastal city of Mombasa, we're joined by Francis Ontoma, who is coming to us live from Diani Reef, that is in the coastal strip. Thank you so much for joining us, Francis. Quite a number of tourists, flocking Mombasa, 991 on the latest cruise ship. What is the environment like there? Are hoteliers optimistic?
Well, Joy, of course, this is a peak season for tourism down here, the coast, and specifically domestic tourism. But largely, cruise ship tourism is an area that has largely been described as an area that harbors huge potential for the Kenyan tourism and for even the regional tourism. And that ship arriving in Kenya, of course, is a huge indicator that things are getting better, and perhaps it is coming out from the lull that it has been experiencing over the last couple of years. And to just briefly discuss this matter, I'm joined by Mr. Titus Kakangi, who is the CEO of Diani Reef Beach Hotel. Mr. Kakangi, huge potential for cruise ship tourism. How big is it for Kenya?
Cruise ship is big, really big. Would have been greater than it is right now had it not been for the piracy that we experienced in the past. But just to give you an indication, between January and July this year, we have been able to receive over nearly 2,000 cruise ship tourists in Kenya. When you talk about cruise ship tourists, you're talking about the high-end tourists. Guys who have got the spending power, they'll come around here and perhaps the average spend would be up to maybe $500. That's a lot of money on one sitting in our standards. And the advantage that there is, and I think this is going to make it now a mega destination for cruise ship. This is going to give South Africa a mega competition. Once the government completes the construction of the modern terminal at the KPA, currently called the G section, which is being funded by Trademark East Africa. I think once that is done, we'll be home and dry. Yes.
One last question for you. Of course, huge competition coming regionally from other countries. We're talking of Zanzibar posing great competition to Kenya. Perhaps locally, do you feel Kenya is positioning itself better to really tap in on cruise ship tourism?
Yes, like I just said. And remember, right now, we have major advantage. The threat on piracy is gone since Kenya went to Somalia, and it has sorted out a lot of issues. Remember, again, there is a UN body that is in the high seas in the Gulf. Yeah. As for Kenya and other competitions, Zanzibar and others, with cruise business, there is no competition. Remember, cruise moves along circuits. So, in fact, if now Zanzibar becomes a market, we should even work towards working together and marketing the destination together. Remember, again, the biggest advantage for Kenya for cruise ship is that we've got great global airline networks. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kakangi, for joining us. That has been Titus Kakangi, of course, joining us from Diani Reef Hotel, giving us a bit of perspectives on cruise ship tourism. Back to you, Joy.
Well, thanks a lot, Francis. We do appreciate the update. Very incisive interview right there. And he talks about great global airline network that Kenya has, and I guess the best competition to give South Africa.